Hi everyone, this is a story about parsley. But if you're not a fan of parsley, or maybe you don't know if you're a fan of parsley, it's not really about parsley. It's about me descending into hell in the middle of a very important business meeting. And parsley. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
It's time
To talk
about
our lives.
Okay, so this story actually happened maybe a year ago, but parsley has been on our mind because of a recipe that we made 2 days ago.
And I just want to re-emphasize, this video is about parsley, but it's also not about parsley. I promise you. Please keep watching.
So we were making Polish cabbage roll soup, courtesy of Chef John's Food Wishes YouTube channel.
Love.
That video, we watched it, we had to make it. So we were making it, and it calls for parsley. There's a long discussion because this parsley incident had already happened a year ago. We kind of couldn't figure out if Shane would allow the parsley into the soup.
We have a difficult history with parsley, as you'll soon come to learn and understand.
So we compromised, we did a little bit of parsley, and then we left the rest out to top your bowl.
And
But
as
this again isn't about parsley,
No.
so let's just move on.
It's about parsley, but it's also not about parsley. So we were eating the soup, delicious, amazing, big winner, and as we were eating it, a piece of parsley got stuck in the back of my mouth. I was sent back a year ago to another time that I had apparently repressed when parsley almost took me from this world in the middle of a very important business meeting. Okay,
This is true.
to give you some context, when Hannah and I have a business meeting, like at a restaurant, whatever, we do a few things to prepare, given my disability.
Preparation number 1, we pick a quiet restaurant. Shane is not able to be heard in a bustling restaurant,
Yes.
so we have to be somewhere quiet. At this business lunch where the incident occurred, we were sitting on an outdoor patio,
Yes.
and it was very quiet and lovely.
So things in that regard were feeling like a win. The other thing that I do is I usually will eat my own food before the business meeting, if the business meeting is a meal, because the process of me chewing my food and effectively speaking don't go hand in hand very well.
Yeah.
So I will eat mostly beforehand, and then I'll pick at whatever food, whenever I'm not talking during our business meeting.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on this.
Well, this was a breakfast
This is
meeting.
a breakfast, yeah.
That's kind of tough, How early are we going to get up for this? So we were having breakfast, but you're also not a huge breakfast person, so it's not a big deal. I forget, do you remember what you ordered?
I think it was a quiche.
Quiche.
Yeah. And so
Topped with parsley.
it was a quiche. All right, I just want to emphasize here, we are at this very important business meeting. I'm not going to give the details, but it was very important to Hannah and I that we come off as impressive and competent and
Nice,
cool,
lovely people.
interesting people.
And we had never met these people before that we were having lunch with.
Correct.
Or
So
breakfast, sorry.
we did all our prep, although I hadn't really eaten beforehand. I order a quiche that contains parsley. And at this point, I didn't have any kind of vendetta or
Yeah.
preconceived ideas about parsley,
You had no idea.
as I'm sure many of you don't as well.
If only you had known.
I didn't know how insidious parsley can be. We begin kind of our meeting, they arrive, we're chatting. I take a bite, the first bite of my quiche, and immediately feel a sharp, biting, rocky, gritty sensation
It's a leaf.
so far in the back of my mouth that it felt like I had unlocked a new area of my mouth. So I'm like, I can't really chew my food. I'm like, oh, there's something in the back of my, oh god. Mind you, these two very important people are sitting across the table. One of us is telling a story. So
We're sitting right here, and they're sitting right there.
and it's a small table. So I have a mouthful of food. I'm trying to get it down without spitting it out and choking, and not looking like
Like you're having a problem.
A problem. So I'm, and I can't back down because there is at this moment, I think it's a pebble or a seashell in the back of my mouth. And I can't handle this.
You thought that the little leaf of parsley topped on your quiche was a seashell?
I had no parsley experience at that point in my life, and it was so far in the back of my mouth that like, I don't have full
It
sensation.
was stuck to the roof of your mouth, correct?
I don't, no. In the beginning, it was bottom left side
Oh.
on like my inner gum line under my tongue. So far back.
I forgot it was under your tongue. I forgot.
But you might not even have this part of your body. Maybe I'm the only one. It was deep, okay? So I'm trying to get down this one bite of food while maintaining composure. And I do. I get it down. Great. The problem is so far from over though, because the seashell parsley is still under my tongue all the way in the back of my mouth. So I, in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'll get it. I'll like, move my tongue around a bit. I've had things under my tongue before. And it wasn't as severe now that I'd swallowed the food.
So at this point in the meal, Shane begins asking me for sips of his water, which is not a normal. Shane has never taken a sip of water at a restaurant.
That's an overstatement, yes I have.
So I'm like, I wonder if he's trying to appear like a water drinker, like if this is some sort of thing that he's like thinks is good to do.
It's a business move. I was like, I'm gonna impress him by having some sips of water.
It was like a lot of water, like a lot of repeated sips of water, and I was like, Jesus, like what are you doing? But I had no idea what was going on.
Problem number 2. While the parsley in the back of my mouth isn't yet choking me, it is making it really difficult to talk. I realize that when I speak, it activates the parsley into a position that's like gagging. So, as we are at this business meeting, they are asking us things, and we have to respond. And like some of the questions are for me. So,
shockingly,
like that Hannah, if they say like, Shane, where'd you grow up? I can't be like, Hannah, why don't you answer that? So I'm doing my best to answer their questions, not gag in their face, and get water in my mouth to like swish around, which I can't do very effectively. Like my lips aren't very strong, so me swishing
has a high percentage chance that it's coming out of your lips.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
So I'm trying for the life of me to also not dribble water out of my mouth while I'm swishing. It escalates because all my swishing did nothing but move the parsley further back into straight up, I'm gonna gag and throw up zone. Like it is choking me. I can breathe, but
you began coughing. I remember that because I was looking over like, what's going on?
And you kept being like quietly, like while they were speaking or whatever. You were like, "Are you okay?" I can only imagine what their perspective of this breakfast was like, because I don't think I remained composed. I had my head down. I was close to dry heaving as you can get without dry heaving. Just like, I hope I wasn't making that face. Somehow the meal continues and no one, calls 911. But at some point, I think near the end, the whole time I had been trying to get it out, my eyes began to water and I began to gag. Like, I kept it internal, I think. Do you remember me gagging? Like,
I mean, I don't know if I remember you gagging specifically, but I remember the entire time, like, trying to keep their attention so that you wouldn't be noticed.
You did, I mean...
I told stories about, like, trips I'd taken. Like,
Hannah stepped up. At one point, I, came to, and Hannah was telling a story about being in Poland.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how we had arrived at this point. I was just like...
Yeah.
Focusing all my energy on not throwing up in front of these people, trying to survive, basically.
So we get through the meal. Shane has never taken another bite of his quiche this whole time, just so you know. So that was a one-bite meal.
That was giving me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
I was like, they're probably thinking I hate my food.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I think I made up something that, I had eaten before. I don't remember what I said.
Yeah.
But we got through it, and they left.
We got through it. We go to the car. We're, waving goodbye in the parking lot. We get in the car, and I'm like, they were nice. Shane goes, there's parsley in my throat. Immediately, the door closes and Shane was like, get it out.
I was like, I am not okay. Stick your finger in my mouth.
I did. So
And
in the car, I
car,
started
yeah.
scooping under his tongue.
It was deeper. You have no idea how far back this is. It's basically in my stomach. Hannah gets it out, and it is. I think I thought it was parsley in the moment. I figured it was an herb of some kind. I don't know why I said it like that. But it was. It was a chunk of leafy, crumbly ass parsley stem Like, it was sharp. It was like eating a pine cone. And it had, like, latched itself into the deep crevices of my mouth in a way that it felt like a fishing barb, like a hook had hooked into me. So Hannah got it out, and we put it in a little baggie that we kept.
That part is not true.
No, but I did, we got it out and I lived, in case that wasn't clear. I don't know what that business meeting, went like from the other people's
I don't know.
perspective. But
I don't know. It's hard to know.
I know that we haven't named them, but if they're watching and they are remembering an interesting meal with us, it was because there was a piece of parsley in the very, very back of my mouth.
And you know what is funny to top this story off? I put a lot of parsley on top of my cabbage stew. And when I was brushing my teeth that night, like 5 hours after dinner, a huge piece of parsley came out when I spat. And it had been missing in my mouth for those 5 hours. And I was like, oh my God.
It's the worst herb. And I don't like to take stands on things like that.
Yeah.
But I will die on that hill. Parsley should be eradicated from this earth. I don't care if I piss off big parsley. Like,
I like parsley. I like the flavor of parsley.
it doesn't have a flavor.
Yes, it does.
It has one purpose, and that is to kill.
That's our parsley story. Not really about parsley, more about Shane choking and gagging at our breakfast meeting.
Yeah. So I think the moral here is if you have a recipe that calls for parsley, run in the other direction.
Leave it out at the very least.
It will not end well. Okay, everyone. Bye.
Bye.